all I ever wanted to do was showcase or highlight, that people on the distribution end or on your end are also part of a facility's success, of a facility's growth, and those partnerships, whether it be agronomic consultation, whether it be friendship, or whether it be service, a timely delivery, being able to talk to someone in the office about your bill, to have EOP explained.
Welcome to Leadership on the Links, the podcast that showcases innovators in golf course management and the issues they face. I'm your host, Tyler Bloom. In Leadership on the Links, you hear the stories of people shaping the industry from their first swing to their dream match. You feel like you're on the course playing with your most inspiring colleagues, having great conversations, digging into insights and sharing a few laughs. Our industry is changing. As a leader, you need to keep up on everything from trends to technology to best practices. Together, we'll continue to build world-class clubs and teams. Let's get to it. Enjoy.
So I'm joined today by an individual that I've gotten to know. I think honestly, it came during COVID. I think you were playing gigs on Twitter and live music, and I think that's how I just got engaged in terms of who's Paul Hurst, who's Greens Pro. And then over the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, whether it's at the show, whether it's actually we had pizza together, which was very lovely, Paul, that we went
Yes.
to some pizza in St. Louis and just kind of continued that friendship. And I'm super excited to have Paul Hurst join us today on the podcast in the flesh.
Well, I'm happy to be here. And the first time we ever met in person was when I was in North Carolina
Oh,
with you, I believe, right?
I think you're right.
And then we really had a real personal, we had a real personal talk and chat as I was walking out of San Diego, probably the year of COVID. One of those restaurants, you were sitting and we made eye contact. And this was just before you were starting your venture. And I have watched you grow with great pride and admiration of the way you've taken charge of not only your life, but your career, man. So good on you. And I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, I always enjoy the weekly updates that come through about Greens Pro, and you have delivered on being a relief for so many people in a positive way, but
Yes.
also very educational for a lot of the industry. So, how did you decide to like really engage in that sort of content? Because you put yourself out there quite a bit, man, and it takes a lot of courage, and then consistency and continuity with what you do that you keep up with it. You're not a one-trick pony.
Right. Right. Thank you. To be super honest, Christy was pretty much tired of singing with me on X or Twitter. So I had to pivot. And I've always been really passionate about, our side of the industry, the sales side of the industry, or the distribution side of the industry. And I don't think the term is selfishly, but a lot of our focus in our industry is on the golf course superintendent or the assistant or the staff. And all I ever wanted to do was showcase or highlight, that people on the distribution end or on your end are also part of a facility's success, of a facility's growth, and those partnerships, whether it be agronomic consultation, whether it be friendship, or whether it be service, a timely delivery, being able to talk to someone in the office about your bill, to have EOP explained. And once I did the first video, which pretty much made fun of all the different names that we have for chemistries, whether it's Daconil Action or Daconil Ultrex or Weather Stick or Daconil ZN, I was just able to parlay my day-to-day experiences into videos that talk about what life's like on this side of growing grass. And I'm a voracious note taker. So my mind never stops spinning. I talked a little bit about my ADD and my OCD and all the other abnormalities I have. And it's just a nice outlet for me, Tyler. So yeah, that's how.
Yeah. Well, we all in the turf community enjoy your trolling. You do a really good job of it, but in good spirit, in good spirit.
Yes, yes.
I think I remember that. What was it was GS, right? The good shit is the product line that we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just good stuff. I mean, it's just so funny that guys will sell things, they know nothing about it. They don't know what it does. They've never used it, but you're always like, yeah, it's really good shit. So, and the trolling part is my passion that I have for independent distribution, for individuals like yourself that are risk takers. And I'm not saying that the larger corporations that I compete with aren't worthy of a superintendent's business. I just think that Greenspro's more worthy. So anyway, and I like to have a good time with Home Depot, which everybody asks who Home Depot is, but that's Heritage. That's the old Winfield. So that's big money. Obviously, Harold's is huge, and Site One isn't the statistic 70 cents of every dollar spent in the green industries through Site One. So, you know what? I can I have a good time, and it's all fun. So anyway, yes, I'm very good at trolling.
Your career's evolved, right? So you're former, for some of those that don't know,
Uh-huh.
previously were a superintendent day to day and then moved,
Correct.
right? So talk us through kind of your career journey.
Yeah. Uh, I just was never really smart, so I didn't know what I was doing in college the first 4 years. My running joke is I went to college for 7 years and I'm not a doctor, but I was going to be a lawyer. I had aspirations of doing that, but there was no chance of me passing the LSAT. So I had been working at the local university golf course in Columbia, Missouri at Mizzou, and along the way, I met a former superintendent, and he said, "Hey, you can have a legitimate career in this business." So got married, re-enrolled in school at Mizzou at the age of 22, and graduated again at 25 with a degree in plant science. And of course, the university golf course had hired me as an assistant with no experience. But the beauty of that was 75% of my tuition was paid for.
It's funny. I had lunch earlier with a good friend, former superintendent, the past president of the GCSAA, and we were just chatting up about just different things. And he was asking just what's your perspective of just total golf community as a whole. And I said, 20% of the industry is going to be fine. The who haves are going to be fine. It's the $5 million or less revenue club that can't pay what it takes to get a qualified, educated, trained, experienced individual. That's going to be a real challenge. And you even got it down to the 9-hole facility.
Hmm.
That's even harder. And it's hurting at every level. Like it's not like, those with all the money in the world are just in a great position, for recruiting in general. They're having their own challenges. It's scary. And I mean, you get to work with all those different sort of customers and different things like that. So
Right.
I thought you were going to tell me your biggest concern is actually volunteerism at PGA Tour.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Speaking of the 25% or the 20% or what you felt was going to be fine, 20%, I think was a number. People have asked me several times about the golf course industry show that we just had in Orlando. And I think one of the unfortunate things I'm seeing about that show anymore, it's clearly a show for the haves. Maybe have nots is not the term, but I mean the bulk of what I saw there is a pipe dream for a mom and pop 18 or a Muni 9. Things are expensive these days. And to walk around that show and be like, there's not a chance I'm going to have a GPS sprayer. There's not a chance that I can measure data of salinity or moisture or soil temperature on my fairways. But yeah, I think, like you said, and another example, we have a college here in Missouri called State Tech, and they're doing a great job training individuals. The problem is the upper echelon clubs are the ones recruiting them because they have housing, they have meals, they're paying better. So again, and I hate to be cliche like that, but the rich get richer, and it's easy for Oakmont or for Belle Reve or some of these top level clubs to get good kids because and could an argument be made that you learn a hell of a lot more at an 18-hole golf course that doesn't have everything, that doesn't have a spray tech, an irrigation tech, a mechanic, a horticulturist. That's one of the benefits I had working for a university golf course. I knew how to do everything. So anyway,
I'm laughing. I'm in my head laughing because I was giving a talk to the Penn State Turf students last week, and the conversation came up about experiences in club levels.
Right.
And most of all those individuals are going to pretty recognized household name kind of venues. And, whether it's right or wrong, I kind of said, you got to pay for your education, right? So you got to put yourself in a position that you can go earn that back. Otherwise, you probably didn't come here and get the most out of your education. With that being
Right.
said, I think that there are a lot of other opportunities that people get their foot in the door in the industry, that maybe it's a mid-tier club or it's a public facility, that you learn kind of, is this something I want to do?
Right.
It's hard for individuals to go take a step back and then
Right.
try to elevate back into the, top
Yeah.
echelon clubs.
Yeah. And I talk to a lot of young guys that consult me or ask my opinion on that. And there's a lot of truth to being pigeonholed at a club. You could be an assistant at a mid-tier public golf course and you could be an absolute gamer, but it's going to be tough for you to compete with an average mid employee at a high-end country club, because it's not as sexy, as the lights aren't as bright. So yeah, it's tough. It's so tough.
When you think about some of on the flip side, from a membership standpoint or a golfer's perspective, right?
Mhm.
What do you see people are a little bit out of touch with? And when it comes to operations, day-to-day maintenance, expectations, anything that stands out to you?
I would say cost, probably, Tyler. Some of the equipment costs anymore, greens mowers, fairway units, it's unbelievable. I had a guy buy a fairway unit the other day, not from me, but I'm aware of it. And these fairway units are north of 100 grand. And I think the other thing that hurts guys anymore, there's so much communication anymore, whether it's superintendents doing videos or newsletters or weekly updates, that just like us, nobody even listens anymore. I mean, there's there's almost too much information that people are portraying. But I would probably say still, I mean, I think conditioning, maybe you got 5% that are complaining about green speeds or something, but I would think membership is still out of touch with what it actually takes to prepare a golf course on a weekly basis. And I think guys have done a great job educating their people on that. But we need more shop tours for the membership. We need more volunteer days. But then again, Tyler, if you're paying money at a club, I always used to joke, "No, they don't care how it gets done. They just want it done." Anyway.
I was at one of my good friends, a superintendent, a local resort public facility, Toff Tree, semi-private, I guess. Place
Right.
is in great shape. And I was there for lunch. And afterwards, I was like, oh, I'd like to go out and play golf for a little bit. And then I'm like, when you sign up for these roles, or like you're on a greens committee or whatever, it's like, who's got the time for this stuff to be able to do it? Now that totally different perspective versus like, man, why don't the members want to spend more time? Why don't they want to get more engaged? Why can't they be more educated?
Yeah.
And kind of like,
Yeah.
man, that's I don't got the time for it.
No, no, I don't. No, I don't at all. So yeah, it's that'd probably be it though. I think just educating, normal everyday folk on what it takes.
Your observation, obviously, I enjoy the fact that you kind of brought up a wide range of different kind of facilities. From your perspective, separates a great golf course operation from an average one. And this is not about finances, but what do you see that separates the great ones from the average?
Presentation and detail. I'm blown away. I'll see a club that spends, let's say, $350,000 a year on maintenance, and the place is absolutely pristine. It's perfect. Ropes are straight, tees are aligned, trash is picked up, lines are smooth, things are done well, equipment's clean, the shop's organized. I'll go to a golf course that spends $1 million a year, and there's things that I see on the golf course from blown away. I think the leadership aspect of the assistant superintendent, the superintendent, on the importance of detail, on the importance of presentation, is critical. I make fun of culture a lot, trust falls and what are they called, mission statements and vision statements. I guess I find personally people that talk about culture at their golf course or facility or business are usually the worst offenders of decent culture. Where I've seen successful people in St. Louis are guys that have built a stable, I'd say, of 5 to 7 full-time guys that are absolute assassins. They're not relying on a staff of 20 half-assed people. They got 5 to 7 guys that would literally run through a brick wall for you. And if that means drinking beers after work or playing ping pong during the winter, those are the types. Or having a guy sent me a video the other day of a foot race between the staff on a fairway with no shoes off. I mean, that's culture. Nobody cares about your stupid effing vision statement. It's all chatter. But anyway, I think that's it. I think it's these guys that can, or guys or gals that can build a group of people that are just gamers. I mean, no different than you, Tyler. You want to hire people that believe in what you do and want to make your business better. No different than me. And I've had success hiring people, being a part of hiring people that are really really good. And then I've also had some experiences where it's not so good. So
I'm laughing for a couple different reasons. Like, I literally just went through an exercise around values, mission statements. Like, I'm that guy that doesn't build a culture. No,
yeah.
I 100% agree with you. Like, culture is important. It's just it's not something you put on a whiteboard or a poster. It's being out in the trenches, and I've got your
Yeah.
got my back, and
100%.
we're gonna grind it through. And
Yeah.
one of my dear friends, the superintendent, that's probably listening, he likes to refer as, we got a bunch of savages on our team, that just
Yeah.
get shit done.
Yeah, there's a great club here in St. Louis, Old Warson, and Tim Rothler does an amazing job. But he's had the same group of guys, and I don't know how he's been able to do it. Obviously, they have the ability to pay well, but he's been able to keep this group of 5 to 7 guys that can do anything, anytime, anywhere. And those are the clubs that I see. There's never issues. There's never a phone call on a Monday morning. We had some oh shit wilt. We didn't get this sprayed. This happened. I mean, it's just consistency all the time because Tim has built a stable of men and women that do a fantastic job. And that's easier said than done. But that's what I see is usually a group of people that are paid well, that are doing great work.
When you map out your pathway at the GCSA show,
Uh-huh.
what are the must-haves? What are the must-nots?
That show to me as a independent distributor is basically just me touching base and showing gratitude for the people that have given Greensboro the opportunity to sell their product. And it's saying hello to people. I don't even know how long I've been doing the Twitter thing. It's more been about seeing guys like you or Dave Wilbur or, Zach Wignall from Dogs of Turf. To me, that show, I'm fortunate, Tyler. There is business I do there, but I'm not obligated to be at a booth, or I'm not obligated to do things on the trade show floor. I can just go around and meet people. But I think that show for me is the same thing I've said so many times is, you know, 6 years ago, my circle was the greatest St. Louis area in the Midwest. And ever since the fun and games with the videos, my circle has become guys like you. It's become guys like Dave Wilbur, John Riley, Mike Richardson. I have all these sales guys across the country that I call, and we're like, hey, what are you seeing on fertilizer pricing? If you had any experience with this product, or any advice for me at this. And so I think for me, it's turned, yes, there's business that I take care of there, but a lot of it's that old camaraderie, networking, thing that people talk about. And I've really, really enjoyed that, because 99.9% of the people will come up to me and say, hey, man, I really appreciate how you carry yourself. So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I I think it's an interesting change from being a supervisor on a trade show, you know, being on the exhibitor side. Not that I want
Yep.
to, not that's either or is a bad term. It's different. And I try to do a better job of like still walking the trade show floor, because you get to have different conversations, with people than just sitting straight at a booth. I always enjoy, for me, is when you do get to meet somebody that I see this person on Twitter,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, or Instagram, whatever it is. And it's always kind of like a little awkward at first, but then you're like, I feel like I've known you forever.
I know, it's weird. It's crazy. I agree.
Oh,
Yeah, and I love it. Like, I honestly I seek you out every year, and I'll run into you at one spot, but I always like to see you at the booth. And as I told you earlier, it's been fun. Not that I have any skin in the Tyler Bloom Enterprises, but it's always fun to see a guy take a risk and have success. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Well,
yeah,
like I
man.
said, Paul is actually a small investor into the company. We're releasing the
I wish I got some capital if you want it. Let's do it.
yeah. All right, to the last important matters.
Yes.
Volunteer. There's a couple questions that I know are some comments
Mhm.
that you put in some notes back to me. So
Yeah.
let's hit on some of these controversial topics around
All right.
volunteerism for PGA events. We'll start with that one.
Okay. This is a great topic. And speaking of X, Thomas Bastis, who was at your happy hour 2 years ago, right,
Yep.
in Phoenix, and he's the PGA guy. Well, Thomas, much like you and I, have become friends. And I talked to him yesterday. We had a non emotional conversation about this particular issue. And one of the problems I have is I don't understand why an event with a $20 million purse expects distribution to provide a food truck, a quarter zip, hoodies, an acoustic duo, and then nice lodging at a hotel. I mean, it's just weird. I don't understand why as an industry that when you have the Super Bowl or you have the World Series or you have professional athletes gathering, that it's on the backs of distribution to fund the maintenance of the golf course. I mean, for real, dude. But I also understand, and Tyler was very good about explaining this to me, that Thomas, there's expectations put on these guys. There's things they have to do. There's all this data and things that have to happen. And I understand that this is their moment and they need help, but it's just an awkward position as a business owner to be expected to donate money to a professional sporting organization that's paying a winner $3 million to win a golf tournament. And like I said, I got to donate 15 grand for a food truck. I mean, it's just bizarre. Anyway, that's me.
Well, I appreciate that comment because it's
Mhm.
really interesting. When we made the transition to exhibitor, I don't think too many people jumped in, as a startup company to like dip their hands in to say, "Hey, Tyler, would you be willing to donate towards this?" However,
100%.
as a business matures,
Yeah. Mhm.
those come out. But I think there's the way I kind of look at it is people always feels what's the value that we could provide for you,
Mhm.
right? That value is it's different for every sort of exhibitor, different at every probably life of a business. But
Right.
it is a really fascinating question because I guess I never really thought of it that way until you brought that up in a few weeks ago. I was like, it's a really fair question.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it, but I don't want it ever to turn into, it shouldn't turn into pay for play, Tyler. I mean, I'm hoping that people buy from Paul Hurst and Rich Carlson and Greensboro because we provide the best service. We provide the best agronomic knowledge. We're a partner to not only you, but your golf course. I hope people buy from Greensboro because of that, as opposed to a check I can write for a tournament. I'm sure that's kind of la di da perfect world thing, but I'm kind of stubborn about that. And we haven't been slighted. I'm not pointing fingers. I think the whole business plan of the PGA to put on an event at the backs of volunteers and distribution is flawed. And I'm not talking about people that are lifting ropes, and I'm not talking about the membership at Belle Reve who are responsible for hole 13 handing out waters. I'm talking about 7-day commitments, two shifts. And let's be real honest, these are the best golfers in the world. I mean, do we have to fluff the rough and make sure the bunkers are perfect? But anyway, that's me. And I could be dead wrong. And Thomas did a great job of telling me to simmer down. So I'm going to do that.
I appreciate that. And Thomas has a way with words, so I
Yes, he does. Yeah, he
yeah,
does.
it's a really interesting one because I think that it is a conversation that probably doesn't come up often, but
Hmm.
it does come up that I hear those sort of undertones periodically. So is it brand exposure? Is it, hey, vendor partnership? This is part of our overall why we're
Mhm.
supporting you because you supported us. Is it access to decision makers,
Right.
different marketing aspects? I'm sure there's a lot of different angles of how to evaluate it. But yeah, it is
Yeah.
really interesting.
And Tyler, let's be honest. Nobody's going to buy a case of Daconil from me because I sponsored a tour event. I mean, it's just not the way it works. And, I have my access to capital is much less than some of the larger companies I compete with. So,
Second hot button topic.
yes. Yeah. What we got?
Okay. So, um, are you a Fender supporter? Guitar type? What's your kind of guitar?
So I don't play any, I should play, I don't play any electric. So I'm a big Martin guy, and there's two types of Martins. There's US built Martins, which are made in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. And then
From where I'm from.
there you go. And then you also have affordable Martins, which are made in Mexico. Well, I have two spruce top Martins that are my working guitars, and they are so much better than my American made Martin. We've done this so much, Tyler, that I don't even the venue anymore, whether it's in front of 3 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, or whether it pays $500 for $1,000. It's all about the sound for me, and that's the hardest thing about this playing out live or playing, being exposed, especially when you just have one guitar and two voices, is the sound is never the same. Every venue you play has different acoustic undertones, overtones, and stuff like that. So I have found that those two Martins that I use, there's a huge depth because of that spruce top, and I like a deeper sounding guitar mainly because I play chords and I'm not a big solo guy. So anytime I hit a big E chord or a big strong F chord, man, I want it to kind of rumble in your chest a little bit. So,
I like that. That's the kind of
mhm.
impact that you make, that you're going to leave a little rumble in my chest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That should be
yeah,
your
yeah.
tagline. That should be Greensboro's new tagline.
I got too many taglines. Too
I,
many.
so totally
Yeah,
like off
yeah,
topic, but this was
yeah.
maybe like 3 months ago. So I have a Martin acoustic
Yep,
as well. Well, I did. We had
yep,
it hanging in the living room,
yep.
and the previous homeowners had like two little racks that you could put your guitars on. So
Sure.
electric up there and acoustic. And just one day, my 5-year-old Sienna was like climbing on the couch, and
Yep,
she loves music. So she has a small like little guitar, and she tried to pull that up and
yeah.
smashed a
Yikes.
$2,000 guitar.
So
So
that was a legit Martin.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. That sucks.
So
That's
it's sitting out in my garage in a in its case and pieces, and
okay.
I don't
You
even want
should.
to open it because I'll have a little bit of PTSD after that moment. I had to walk out of the house. My wife
Yeah,
was like, "I can't believe like you actually like didn't blow a gasket." I'm like, "What are you gonna do? Yell at a 5-year-old?" She had no
that's
clue what
right.
was doing.
That's good parenting, Tyler. That's good
Yes.
parenting. We could do a whole other podcast on parenting. Oh man, I
So
tell you. Woo!
is there a all right, when you think about the time frame when you were doing some of your music,
Yep.
on Twitter,
Hmm.
was there ever like a specific moment or like somebody reached out to you like, geez, Louise, like we're actually having an impact here on people? Or was there like a funny moment that you look back and be like, man, that was
Yeah,
really odd, but kind of cool?
yeah. I think when it got fun is when Christy had the buy-in, because she didn't have the buy-in at first, and then I felt, I owe. I tell everybody all the time, I owe everything to Tim Krieger. Tim Krieger from the Carolinas was the guy, and Joe Wachter from here in St. Louis was probably had the largest impact on that growing. But I felt when Christy had buy-in and she knew we were impacting people, and that's when that's Tyler. That's there'd be 5 to 7 packages a week that were showing up. Hey, when you sing Night Moves by Bob Seger, can you drink out of this BASF cup? Can you wear this hat? Can you wear this? But yeah, but that was fun. And then that was right in the heart of COVID. So I'd be lying to you to tell you that, sometimes we might have had a few beers in us when we were doing it, but it was just so much fun. And I'll go back. I don't do it enough, but I'll go back and watch some of those videos. And that's when we were really playing a lot of guitar. I mean, we were playing 3 times a week. We were playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And golf, guitar, when you get those reps, man, you get good. And I watched some of those videos and I was like, man, I think I was a little bit better guitar player back then than I am now. But yeah, definitely when Christy had the buy-in, and then I think X was fresh, Twitter was fresh, and people weren't, leaving Twitter because of politics and Musk and all the crap. But yeah, man, those are my memories of the music and the videos. It's Tyler, I would lie to you. It's maybe the greatest risk I've ever taken is putting myself out there, not only with the music, but with the videos. I mean, we played music in 6 states now because of Twitter. I've spoken in 4 states because of Twitter on sales, and it's been amazing. It really has, and I'm grateful for it.
So you were the inspiration for John Gruden on Barstool Sports, where universities are sending
Yeah.
him here.
Yeah.
Actually, was you were the
Yeah.
one that the inspiration behind
Oh,
that?
yeah, I think so. I think so for sure. But yeah, yeah, it was fun. It was fun, man. It's
Yeah.
all good. There's still
Okay.
I think still part of it gives me hope. There's so much negativity all the time, but man, there's great people. There are people that are lovely to talk to. There are people that are funny. There are people that are outliers. There are people that are inspirational, and I think highlighting that or seeing that in people, I love it. I mean, I love hearing about what you call them, savages, man.
Last few questions here for you. It's a
Yeah,
little bit of rapid fire. What's the fastest way for a vendor to get ignored by a superintendent?
price. You go in and say, I think the worst thing that a vendor can say to a superintendent is, "Hey, I'm cheaper." To me, if you do that, it's become a transaction at that point, Tyler. It's transactional, and if that's where you're at, that's it. I think it's the worst. I say that with the fact that probably 70% of what I sell is the same price through me as it is through any other distributor in my market. So I think when you walk in, you say, "Hey, I'm the cheapest," I'm looking at my phone.
If someone reads your Twitter for a week, what do they completely misunderstand about you?
I think there's been a misunderstanding that people think I'm like super serious all the time about shit. You know, and the entire existence of the Greens Pro sales videos has been nothing but hyperbole. It's been nothing but self-deprecation. There is nothing serious I say on X, and that's the way I want it. I don't talk about product. I don't talk about how amazing Greens Pro is or what a great singer Christy is. I want people to look at that and be like, that is one goofy, fun-loving dude. That's all I'm.
What was the name of the pizza place we went to in St. Louis? And
Yeah.
You said you took Dr. Kaminsky there too?
Yeah, I did. I did. And here's the unfortunate part. I took you when they were transitioning to new owners, and the pizza was terrible. It's called Regazzi's. And the fishbowl beers is another thing they have there. But yeah, I took Kaminsky there as well. But other pizza, it's always one of my fears with Greens Pro. You never want to dilute that brand, Tyler. You want to keep a leash on that brand so it stays good. But yeah, Regazzi's was the name of.
Yeah, I was in Chicago about a month or so ago, and
Right.
I'm gonna totally butcher the name of this place, but I believe it's called
Yep.
Pequod's Pizza. It's like
Okay.
it's well-known Chicago style pizza.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
it reminded me exactly like the place we went to. Old
Okay.
school, kind of Italian feel to it.
The red and white tablecloths.
Yeah, a little bit of that. It was a little bit more of a hole in the wall, but it was great.
Yeah, I got you.
It
I
was
got you.
fantastic pizza. So,
I got you.
um, anything else we haven't covered? I really appreciate you coming on here and giving some
Yeah.
well, anything we missed.
No, I don't think so. Let's do it again sometime, and we'll maybe we'll focus. I think it's important to be light to not be so freaking serious all the time. So I appreciate that. And I am super grateful that you had me on, and also super grateful for our friendship. We've stayed in touch. So it's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, man. Well, hope to see you in St. Louis, usually around July-ish. I was looking back at my messages to you
Yeah.
in July, so we'll hit you
Okay.
up ahead of time.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Leadership on the Links. For more leadership insights and industry expertise, connect with us at bloomgolfpartners.com or follow us on social media sites LinkedIn and Instagram. If you enjoyed this episode of Leadership on the Links, we'd be thrilled if you'd leave a review or share it with someone who you know would get some value. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to stay updated. Thanks for joining us today.